For the final time at 10 to 5 on a Thursday, it's time to go to the movies. And that means James Luxford from Stratford-upon-Avon, where they are not touching the Shakespeare's Birthplace Trust. James, have you seen any of that going on?
I mean, there's street work going on everywhere,
Right.
but I was fascinated. Yeah, I live maybe 5 minutes from the birthplace, and I didn't know there was so much intrigue going on just on my doorstep.
Okay, there we are. James is here, Metro newspaper, Radio Times movie reviewer. Pick a look ahead to the weekend's movies in Coventry and Warwickshire. Before we do, a quick look back, if you like, at the Oscars at the weekend. If you were listening last Thursday, you told us then, look out for Parasite. It might be the surprise winner, and that's exactly what happened.
It is really a real surprise. I think Best Director, Best Picture, certainly the first foreign language film to do so. I mean, The Artist was technically a French film, but of course it was silent, so there was no sort of foreign language in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a real shock. It's a bit of a statement of intent, I think, in terms of taking a broader review of what it means to be an award-nominated film, not just Hollywood stories about Hollywood. It's wonderful, because I spoke to someone who works in marketing at the cinema, and they've shown me charts of the amount of seats that are being sold off of the back of this news.
Really?
To Parasite, which I mean, I don't know, had it not been
Wouldn't
just
have
one
that interest.
Yeah, a South Korean drama from the relatively few stars that would be known in the Western world. It's just terrific, and I think that's what awards should be about, really highlighting really the great films, not just the popular ones.
And quite clear that the Academy voters shunning anything that wasn't sort of the Hollywood set by shutting out Netflix. Would that be fair to say?
24 nominations, just 2 wins. American Factory, Best Documentary, which you could argue that's really because of who's associated with it. It was produced by the Obamas. And Laura Dern winning for Marriage Story, Best Supporting Actress, which is a very well-deserved win.
film.
But you look at the amount of The Irishman, I think 10 or 11 nominations, not to win Best Visual Effects. I mean, 1917 won. And I'm sure, I'm too inexperienced to realise what goes into the effects on films like that. But, they made Robert De Niro 40 years younger. Does that not deserve an award? I mean, it's a very, again, a statement of intent that just says Netflix maybe isn't welcome here.
Okay. We'll come on to Joaquin Phoenix for Best Actor in a moment. We'll tell you why in just a moment. But very quick mention for Brad Pitt as well and his acceptance speech.
It was lovely, wasn't it? And I think, dedicated to his children and really visibly moved by what looking back at his career and what had happened. And I think well-deserved, great performance and a great movie.
Okay, good stuff. So on to this week's previews for you. First up, a Jane Austen novel getting a bit of a rework.
Yes, Emma, the adaptation of the classic Jane Austen novel about a young woman in a Georgian society who's an expert at matchmaking.
Miss Woodhouse! You will never guess what has happened. Robert Martin has offered me his hand. Do you advise me?
Oh, no. The words must be your own. You must be the best judge of your own happiness.
I have now quite determined and really almost made up my mind to refuse Mr. Martin.
Emma.
Jane Austen's Emma. What do we make of that?
I really liked it. Look, this is a story that's been told 1,000 times, most recently in Hollywood with Gwyneth Paltrow in the mid-90s. But it's the little tweaks to it. A young cast, people like Josh O'Connor, who's hilarious as the local sort of vicar in the in the story, and Johnny Flynn, who's kind of the Mr. Darcy character. Really good-looking film, well shot, colourful, and Anya Taylor-Joy, who plays Emma, brings something a little bit modern to a period drama.
Coming up to half-term holidays, you can tell it's approaching. with the release of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes, the much delayed video game adaptation about a very fast hedgehog and his nemesis, Dr. Robotnik, played by Jim Carrey.
I'm Sonic, a little ball of super energy in an extremely handsome package. On my planet, people were always after my powers, so I came to yours.
I have to say, my 30-second viewing of the trailer was horrific, but I don't know what you made of it.
I mean, this made the headlines for all the wrong reasons because it was delayed from August because the trailer came out and fans were so outraged. They said, we're going back to the drawing board and redesigning Sonic. So I haven't gotten to the screening, I must admit, but the reviews for this have been kind of mixed. Some are saying very light, very energetic, very funny. Others are saying a little bit childish. We'll just have to wait and see.
Okay, and your home entertainment pick, it was big in the box office last year, did well at the weekend. Joker.
Yes, Joaquin Phoenix's Oscar-winning turn as the Batman villain. For me, I didn't love it as much as a lot of people. I think it was too similar to things like Taxi Driver and The King of Comedy. But I think Joaquin Phoenix is terrific, a genuine sort of portrayal of man unraveling and bringing something serious to a crowded genre like superheroes.
And what do you make of his acceptance speech and using that acceptance speech the way he did?
Bringing attention to sort of environmental issues. I always think it's a little bit difficult with
He got
stars.
heavy, didn't he? Talking about cows and milking and that sort of stuff. Yeah,
I always think he's brought attention to this himself. It's a little bit strong sometimes when there's these stars that fly private jets and these productions that should use a lot of resources to go around the world. But it is wonderful that he's using that spotlight to put a focus on serious issues, and also a lovely dedication to his brother River Phoenix, who died obviously something like in the early 90s, 1994, I think.
25 years ago. Okay. 35 years ago. James, you're going to be part of our new breakfast show. So we will see you very early in the mornings.
I will.
From the week of the 24th of February. Thank you again for everything you've done here on our programme in the afternoon. And looking forward to seeing you when we launch the BBC CWR breakfast show. James will be part of that every Thursday morning with his movie previews. And in between now and then, you can catch them, of course, Metro newspaper and Radio Times magazine. James, thanks a lot.